Well, that sucked. My husband went with me to the game this week. First thing we did was go into the city and have some Casa de Pizza. Getting my pizza footage. It's very important. We watched the Lions game there, and I had to remember that I was actually in a restaurant and not in my living room. I don't usually go to bars to watch football games, and the expectation also, I think, was that since this was not a Bills game, people would not be yelling in the middle of the bar/restaurant about some other random team, but that's just me. Then to avoid some of the 219 traffic, I took my husband down the Skyway, and my husband had never driven down there, obviously, so it was kind of fun to take him through Lackawanna, and I think he was kind of like, oh, this is Buffalo. And I was like, yeah, this is Buffalo. This is a microcosm of what makes this city the sort of place that hundreds of people show up to shovel out a stadium, to the extent where they get turned away.
The upper section of like 306 to 316, that's pretty much all covered. That's yeah, good luck, man. The other side, like 338 to 308 or whatever that section is up there, that's pretty good. It's pretty good, honestly. A lot of people here. This is fantastic. Bills Mafia is undefeated.
And indeed, when we got there, the seats were really clear. It was very easy to sit. We, once again, I had great seats. It was just on the other side of the tunnel this time. So we got there right in time to watch Steph play catch with people. Which I kind of wish had been a better warm-up for him. My husband said that he actually liked the warm-ups best of the whole thing, more than the game, because you just get a sense of how freakishly athletic these people are, just in the little reps that they do out there. And he said watching Josh Allen throw to the 50-yard line like he was tossing a balled up piece of paper in a garbage can 2 feet away. You know, it sort of blew his mind. He'd never been to an NFL game before. I had never been to a night game before, so watching the players come out with all the fireworks going and the lights and all that stuff. Last week, I got to see them announce the offense first, and this time I got to see them announce the defense first. And I don't know what decides that. I don't know if the team decides that or how that works. I think maybe it was a choice they made since it was going to be the last, almost certainly the last home game for Micah Hyde. And the crowd went kind of nuts. The crowd also sang along with great vehemence to the second half of the national anthem, which certainly did not happen last week. Bruce Smith, being the legend of the game, definitely brought everyone's energy level way up. Before he even did that, he came out onto the field and people were shouting his name. I mean, he's my favorite Bills player of all time. And he gave exactly the speech we all wanted and needed to hear.
Woo!
I think the crowd was just really hyped up. We were ready to show the Chiefs exactly what Dion was talking about in that entirely anodyne statement that got the Chiefs so riled up. Like, he barely said anything.
So he's never been here. Simple as that. Pat has never been to the Bills Stadium in full effect. He has no idea what even like our fans like look like in person.
And yet Chiefs fans on the internet and the team themselves were walking around like they had this huge chip on their shoulder. Like we were accusing them of being the Cardinals or something. Like, I don't know why they got so upset. I mean, I get it. You take what you need to give you motivation. That apparently gave them a whole lot of motivation. We did sort of the standard like booing when they came out on the field. You know, that's whatever. We also got to boo Jackson and Brittany when they walked onto the field before the game. That I had no regrets about at all, because Jackson Mahomes. Brittany's fine. Jackson, come on. Bills fans did not boo Jason Kelce. Bills fans loved Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce might as well just be a Bills fan. Like, he fit right in. He was tailgating before the game. You know, he's in that fancy box with Taylor Swift, and what does he do? He takes off his shirt like he's Ryan Fitzpatrick and starts roaring out the window. He jumps out there to be with the fans, even though they're fans of the opposite team. He was just so into it. And, you know, I think guys were giving him a hard time at first, but as soon as they realized that he was chill, they were so excited and cheering for him, even though he was there rooting for the opposing team. And then, you know, the clip where he lifts the little girl up to show her sign to Taylor Swift.
We're gonna show this to Taylor. Jason, I'm a big fan.
You're the best, Kelce! You're the best! Woo!
Come on, that guy.
Jason drunk his beer and then...
I mean, I guess you can not like the Kelce brothers, but why would you? I think Donna Kelce did a good job with those boys. I saw one tweet that showed a still frame of Kylie Kelce in the background. And it said, "That is the face of a woman who knows she's married a dumbass."
I wanted to see her reaction to all of this so bad.
I'm not gonna lie, I gave Kylie a heads up. The moment we got into the suite, I said, I'm taking my shirt off and I'm jumping out of that suite. And she said, Jason, don't you dare. I was like, hey, just letting you know what's happening. I'm not asking for permission. I'm doing this. And she was already telling me to be on my best behavior because we were meeting Taylor.
This is hilarious.
I was like, Kylie, when I met you, the first day I met you, I was blacked out drunk and fell asleep at the bar. This is part of the charm.
And I like Pat Mahomes' dad had to convey a message from her to him. But she loves him. I also weirdly saw people complaining about the fact that he had to hold the little girl up to show Taylor Swift the sign. Like, Taylor couldn't come say hi to her herself, but she couldn't. She was being harassed so badly when she was at the front of the box that she had to move to the back of the box and stay there. And that lines up with some of the bad behavior that we did see from Bills fans that really did bother me. I don't know whether it's because the game was later and they just had more time to drink. I don't know if the emotions were so much higher in this game than they were in the Steelers game, but people were much more assholey at this game than I saw. I didn't see any of that the week before. People were very drunk. People were shouting slurs. And people were throwing snowballs. I mean, if Chris Jones and some other guys are flipping you off, then you're going to throw snowballs at them. I don't know who started it. I don't know who was doing that. I do know that hitting Patrick Mahomes with snowballs when he was just trying to sign something for a small child who was a Chiefs fan.
They worked together for 9 years in Philadelphia.
That's shitty. Come on, get your shit together. Also, however I felt about how the game ended, you don't need to be taunting Tyler Bass in that moment. He feels bad enough. What do you accomplish there? And then you don't need to taunt Gabe Davis.
Fuck his ass! Money, you fucking the fuck up! Full edition of Bills Tonight, tuned into MSC and 11:30.
Gabe, sit the fuck down. You can't even run a route right. Get the fuck out of here.
When he's just there defending his guy, I would do the same thing. Maybe it wasn't the right thing to do to shout back at those guys, but like, they're a team and they love each other and they're gonna stand up for each other, and I respect that. Gabe Davis is not coming back next year. I think we can all agree that that's just not going to happen. Basically, immediately after the game, all the talk online was who's getting re-signed, who's getting cut. That doesn't really interest me too much right now, other than Gabe Davis is almost certainly gone, and so are Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. And that makes me really sad. I watched after the game as Jordan Poyer walked into the tunnel and he blew kisses to the crowd very sadly. And, you know, that's it. That's the end for him, and it's the end for Micah. And I don't know if they're going to go elsewhere, if they're going to retire, what the plan is. I think Poyer actually has another year on his contract, so I have a feeling he might just retire. I think he's done. I think they're both done. I think if Micah's gone, he doesn't want to stay.
What do you have to say about playing alongside 23 there for the past 7 years?
How much time do we got?
And Micah's gone. His wife even posted something online today saying how much she loved Buffalo and all the fans and the team and her time here. And, you know, had a line in there like, if it is time to say goodbye. And I'm like, Amanda, you're saying goodbye. We know it. It's fine. And it sucks because there was something really special about this team and about the energy in this group of guys. That's gonna be hard to replicate. Other talk about who's staying and going, man, the people who say that we're gonna trade Diggs, I think that's almost impossible. The cap hit that we would take trading him, unless we found some team that somehow wanted to absorb that hit too, it's not gonna happen. For all the talk about is Mahomes washed that I mentioned in the last video, which no one's really saying, but they were saying, people were saying it. Now people are asking if Diggs is washed. And I gotta tell you, it's been a weird season for him, and I don't know what's up with him. And man, if he'd made that big catch.
Allen again launches one, long for Diggs. Oh, and it went through his hands.
Oh my goodness, this was launched into the stratosphere.
We'd be talking about a whole different game right now. And that was Steph dropping that ball. That wasn't an underthrow, wasn't an overthrow, which some idiotic Dolphins fan said earlier. Like, no one, if you watched that and thought that was an overthrow, I don't know what you were watching. But I was there, I was on that side of the field, I saw him coming towards me, and you could see Steph had to slow down a little bit. And I don't think that really meant it was an underthrow. I think Josh threw that to exactly where he was supposed to throw it. I think Steph was a little overexcited. I think he got ahead of himself. The timing of it wasn't quite right, but he slowed down, but it made him so that he was at a point in his stride where he just wasn't catching it right. He could have. That was a catchable pass.
You got a running Diggs right at you, backing up for the ball. It goes right through his hands.
Should have been caught.
He just whiffed. So with that in mind, all the people talking about how Josh should have taken the short throw to Steph on that 2nd and 9 at the end of the last drive.
Diggs is wide open underneath. You got a crossing route right here underneath. That's open.
Instead of throwing to Khalil in the end zone.
Allen fires it down the field and incomplete.
By the way, there were a lot of Khalil Shakir fans in my section. We were cheering really loud for him. That was Khalil Shakir. Yay! I've got my Shakir jersey now. But yeah, he had another phenomenal game. That guy is just, that guy's the future of this team.
Sliding left. On the go, throws, end zone, touchdown! The Bills score from 13 yards out. Shakir hauls it in.
And that's on Snead, his first touchdown given up.
But yeah, my thought on that was Steph had just dropped that pass. Not only that, all the cropped shots of that play conveniently leave out that there are 2 defenders between Steph and the line of gain. And they're not that far from him. There's no way they could have gotten to him to block the pass if Josh had decided to throw it there. Probably. But there's no guarantee he could catch it. And there's certainly no guarantee he was going to get any yards after catch. Are we still in the game plan that we've been all game where it's eat clock, keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands, behind the line of scrimmage passes, run the ball, short gain, just move the sticks, which was totally the right call. That was exactly how to play the game when your defense is as depleted as it was. But yeah, in some ways, it would have made more sense for him to take that shot to Steph in that moment. But if you see the guy who's been catching reliably for you nonstop for the last 6 or 7 games, wide open in the end zone, you're going to take that shot. And it would have worked perfectly, except Chris Jones made the play that he needed to make, that he's been trying to make the whole game. He managed to push Dion close enough to Josh. I don't know if he actually hit Josh, but he totally reduced Josh's ability to finish off that throw, the full range of movement to make that throw.
Somebody gets hit right when he throws it. It's not a missed throw. It's because the great Chris Jones.
Chris Jones is a really good defender. And Dion's a really good lineman. The whole line has been fantastic this season. I think Josh has one of the lowest sack rates in the whole league. I certainly don't remember seeing him get sacked a whole lot. But yeah, it was an unfortunate play. I don't even remember what the play was after that. Maybe it was the Sherfield drop. I know there was another pass on the next play and it didn't get first down, and then they had to do the kick. Oh my God, the kick. Like,
Sean McDermott, after his 1-for-3 performance last week, he has tremendous support in the building. If he has to make one for us, with the game on the line, he will. 44 yards, Bass. No, he doesn't make it. Wide right. Wow. The 2 most dreaded words in Buffalo.
It's hard to describe what it feels like when 70,000 people all deflate like a fucking whoopee cushion all at the same time. Because I know every single fan in there was thinking to themselves, okay, we got 1 minute and 40 seconds. We got to stop Mahomes from getting into field goal range, and we can take it to overtime. Can we do this? And then it was, we hadn't needed to think about that at all. Wasn't going to be an issue.
That was not a good loss.
And honestly, maybe we could have. Our defense was playing badly all game. Not just our secondary. I mean, don't get me wrong, the secondary was not doing great because we had no one. We really missed Terrell Bernard, and Brandon Beane sort of summed up why. It wasn't just that we needed him for his gameplay. We needed him for his energy and what he represents as part of this team. That work ethic and that commitment.
He wanted to play, so like the doctors told us after the Pittsburgh game, like you can count him out for the Chiefs game. And this kid kept saying every day, I'm playing. You saw him running in the pools. And we go work him out the day before the game. And some of the things looked good. Some of it, he still struggled. And he got done and knew he couldn't do it. And just the tears in his eyes, I almost had tears in my eyes. And that's what gets you excited. And you got guys like him on your team, you're going to go a long way.
AJ Klein did not live up to his performance last week, but then again, he was supposed to be covering Jason Kelce. That's a little bit different. McDermott refused to play Dorian Williams for some reason. Rasul Douglas was not on his game. He was clearly still hurting, so his coverage was not great. And then he does let Dorian Williams play, and what happens but
Pass dumped off. No one there. Rice had no chance to catch that.
The ref calls some bullshit pass interference.
That's a discussion. Defense number 42.
Like, ages after the play was over, too. That flag came out. I mean, I don't know. Time frames are weird in this game, but like 10 seconds after the play was totally finished, at least 15. It was just a really long time before they threw that flag. So I don't know what was up with that. And it was obvious in the replay that it was a totally legit hit.
Digesting plays, right? So you see what appears to be legal, and then you're rewinding and actually you're kind of digesting to see if that ball's in the air, and it is really close.
But man, Rasul Douglas and Micah Hyde were in that ref's face. God, they were yelling. And of course, you know, the stadium's freaking out too and booing because we all hate that ref anyway. I mean, when the refs came out before the game, they got booed.
Intentional grounding my ass!
We booed them harder than Jackson Mahomes. But yeah, Micah was furious. And I think that lit a fire under them finally, and they were able to get that last stop. I mean, the defensive line was just nowhere to be found. I don't know what was up with that. No pressure on Mahomes. No way to stop Pacheco. Just nothing happening at the line at all. I thought that there was some tackle or something on the Chiefs that apparently was either injured or terrible, and we were supposed to be focusing him all night. I didn't see any attempt to get around to Mahomes. I really didn't. Maybe you could see it better on TV. Maybe it was happening and you couldn't see it from my angle, but he had all the time in the world. We also got hella lucky in that our defense had one really good play, and it was Poyer forcing that fumble that went through the end zone.
Kansas City wants to go up 2 scores.
Here's the toss. It's Hardman, and Hardman is stopped just short. Hey, the ball went through the end zone.
Oh my gosh.
They may rule him down. The Bills are saying that ball was fumbled to the back of the end zone.
Oh my goodness.
You got to bring us in here.
Yeah, most definitely, Jim. First thing I'm looking at, Jim, is he's down by contact.
Which, if they had scored there off that idiotic fake punt.
Going downwind with this one. Fake. Hamlin is stopped short.
I think that would have made everybody angrier than losing on wide right. Wide right was sad. Fake punt would have been angry. And it was funny because I said to my husband, got to 4th and 5, they're still on the far end of the field. We knew that Sam Martin could not punt. I understand why they felt the need to bring Andy Isabella up from the practice squad, even though he didn't get any targets this week, I don't think. He got maybe one last week. I mean, just play without the wide receiver. I don't know enough about scheme to know if that's even possible, but we should have had the old punter back. We should not have played with Sam Martin. But yeah, part of me was like, yeah, fake punt, because this guy can't punt. But I wasn't serious, really. And I certainly wasn't going to do some Disney bullshit of giving it to Damar Hamlin to try and get that yardage. Are you kidding me? We all love the guy. He's a 4th string safety who hasn't played anything but special teams all year until this last week. He's not a ball carrier. If you're going to be aggressive and go for it with Josh Allen, because Josh was playing amazing. His run game was fantastic.
Allen drops back to the 40. Gonna run with it again. There he goes to the 21.
The run game in general was really good.
From the 49, Kansas City, Johnson delivers a stiff arm, and finally Snead pushes him out.
Until they figured it out. Until they knew we were just going to keep running. Until they made whatever adjustment they made to shut down the run game, which is why Josh felt the need to pass at the end of the game. Because we weren't making 10 yards on runs anymore. Maybe if he ran. Cook was not. Blaming that loss on Josh Allen would be so dumb. I can't even explain how you could look at that game and blame it on the offense at all. And, blame it on anyone. It was a good game. It was a close game. Kansas City did not run away with that game at any point. Our defense was not able to keep up with them. We weren't. So we kept the offense on the field and we did a good job of it. The timing was just not right. The timing wasn't right. I don't know if that's a McDermott thing. I don't know if you can clock management has not been McDermott's strong suit this season, to put it mildly. Could his defense have not done that thing that they did all the early part of the year, letting other teams come back in 2 minutes?
2nd and goal. Jones slings it. Touchdown!
Could they have done it against the greatest quarterback in the league right now? I don't know. We won't know. And so we all filed out in a giant mass of humanity.
When your day is long and the night.
And that was that. And then we sat in the parking lot for literally 2 hours, which I know it takes a long time. 2 hours seemed excessive. But we did have a little bit of entertainment, at least for a little while.
Road again. I just can't wait to get out on the road again.
So yeah, that's how the season ended. I think it's ridiculous that they make the quarterback go and do an interview after a loss like that. What do you expect him to say?
Kind of put into words the frustration of not getting past that team again.
Sucks.
But I think the positivity that this team had going into this game isn't gone just because of that loss. You could see in one day they'd turned it around. They'd reflected on what they'd accomplished and how far they'd gotten and realized that this wasn't the end of their window of opportunity or whatever nonsense commentators say because they're trying to fill time.
I think with the people that are here that are driving the spirits of our team, our window of opportunity will always be there.
The fact that Josh Allen has not gotten to a Super Bowl does not diminish the fact that Josh Allen is the right quarterback for this team and for this city and for this fan base. We couldn't ask for a better leader. So we're gonna lose some guys. It's how it works. And it sucks. But there's so much young talent on this team. Not just the guy whose jersey I bought. Cook still needs work, but the raw material is amazing.
On 2nd and 3, they're going to run behind Gilliam. And there he goes, Cook with another first down.
Same thing with Dalton Kincaid. That kid is going to be just a mainstay.
I ran down and just doop.
Osiris Torrance also did a great job as a rookie this year.
And Cybo, I started off 100% snaps. That's a good start. And he's a dog. I think that he's the best in his class.
I think there are many reasons to be optimistic about next season and think next season might be the time to get it done. And I don't want to hear about it was the year that Mahomes didn't have good receivers. It was the year Burrow wasn't in the mix. Blah, blah. All these other things that are like, this was the only time they could do it. I don't think that's true. I think their number one wide receiver was having an off year. We had to switch offensive coordinators halfway through the year. Our defense was made of like guys off the street at a certain point trying to defend against a Hall of Fame tight end in the final game. This was not the optimal chance for the Bills either. Nothing's ever optimal, especially not for Buffalo Bills fans. So we regroup. We hope Josh doesn't come back in the fall with floppy hair again. And we root for the Lions because if it can't be us, come on. So for the next 2 weeks, go Lions.